Hey there folks, how are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new Fallout 76 video. So, last night Bethesda released the full reward list for the upcoming season, Season 23, Blood and Rust, and that is due to kick off on the 2nd of December alongside the Burning Springs update. Yeah, looking forward to that one, less than 2 weeks away. This feels weirdly like it's come around quite quickly. I don't know, it's a funny one, but still. Lots of Raider stuff in this one, which kind of tracks with the theme of the update to a certain extent. A few nods to the New Vegas-esque style, I suppose, in some ways, or the hints of New Vegas that are around the Burning Springs region. So yeah, there's some fun stuff in here, there's some stuff that's not particularly exciting, and there's a bunch of titles and consumables and all that stuff that we'd expect. But yeah, definitely a heavy Raider slant to this one. So, shall we dive in and have a look at this? Okay, so first up, we've got page number 1, and as per usual, yeah, bunch of consumables. We've got Raider metal braziers. Now, those I am quite happy to have. I don't know if they light, can't really tell from this. I hope they do, because that would be cool. But definitely happy to have those. They'll add quite a lot to a Raider camp if you want to build one, and there's a lot of stuff in this that will do that quite nicely, I think, so that's going to be cool. Stabbed Sickle, the 5% score boost if you are a Fallout First player. Grab that day one, get yourself a head start. Usual bits and pieces. The Vault-Tec Cowboy outfit. As always with these Vault-Tec branded other types of outfits and what have you, it always does look kind of cheap and awful, which is slightly the idea. When companies do that sort of thing, that's how it ends up, and obviously they're tweaking their nose at that a little bit with this sort of thing, but yeah, the upshot of that is it's not an outfit I would wear. There's plenty of cowboy outfits in the game that are cool, especially around the Nuka World location, but yeah, this stuff, not so much. But still, there is if you want to pick it up. It's quite cheap, so, you know, that seems appropriate. Page number 2. This one is getting a bit grisly. So we've got some Scorched Deterrents, so some, actually entirely free, which is cool. Scorched on spikes and stuff, presumably deceased ones. Be even creepier if they're still alive. Poster, Stabbed Cleaver, Skull Desk Lamp. That's interesting. That's kind of fun. The Bathroom Scale Pressure Plate. Now that kind of does line up with Raider builds that they use them for traps, but at the same time, I think I'd rather just stick to a bathroom in an ordinary camp. Something like that. But, yeah, if you want a different style of pressure plate, that's not so bad. I wonder if it's workable for the merge glitch like the other one is. It might be, it might not be. I don't know. Random bits and pieces, and an unfortunate end bathtub blunder. So is that supposed to be somebody who's died in a bathtub, or the corpse has just been dumped in there? I don't know. But either way, it's a scorched corpse in a mushy-looking, horrible bathtub. So yeah, if you want to make your camp that much more vile, there you go. This one's a bit of a weird one. There's some fun bits around the Dino Golf advertising boards and stuff, if you want to use them for decorations and stuff like that. This is a location in Burning Springs. It's kind of fun. Yeah, it's a mini golf course, so a fun location to wander around. Probably underused though, other than the fact that some of the repeatable content that's going to be included in the next update can take place there. There's no real quests or anything like that to the location, but it's fun otherwise. The fence set, though, I'm looking at that, and it's just a broken wire stroke chain link fence. Look, there's maybe a rope one, actually. That could be a rope. It's kind of hard to see with a tiny little picture. But I can't see myself using that in a camp. It's not very effective at anything, unless maybe you've got a really specific stylistic reason for it. But it's certainly not going to keep the bad guys out. And, yeah, it doesn't say I'm protecting this place in the kind of vibe that you might want if you're putting a junk fence around it, for example. But the info board and the cutout and stuff like that, that could probably be used, actually, even as part of junk fence. But yeah, those might be fun. Adds a little bit of extra texture and style and stuff to a build, so that's cool. And the Ace the T-Rex t-shirt is not really my style, but it's kind of fun. So yeah, that's not bad. More fireworks, again, I'm not too bothered about. Another score booster. The Bone Fence set. Again, for a Raider camp, you can maybe throw it around for a bit of decoration. Not really, I mean, it'll slow down somebody trying to get in. It looks like it might be bone posts and then barbed wire on it. But, yeah, I'd use it in a Raider camp, possibly, but not in anything else, I think. Still, more alternatives. Stabbed Meat Hook is quite fun. That'd be good in a Raider camp, especially. The taxidermy creatures have never really been my thing, really. They're a bit big, they're a bit awkward, and yeah, they don't fit in a camp, in my view, unless you're really leaning into that as a, maybe a taxidermy museum type build, I suppose. But adding a red scorpion is cool. You get a really close-up look at just how ugly those things really are. The Junkie's backpack is definitely the highlight on this page for me, though. I don't know how that might interact with jetpacks. It might be quite good, depending on how high up it sits or how far down it sits, or it might not clip well. Sometimes the clipping can actually look weirdly quite good, but I guess we'll have to see it in game to find out on that one. But it's a cool theme, and it will go with some other styles of outfit and stuff. I am curious about the size of this backpack, because looking at that big sort of drum on the back of it, it could be a little over large. But if it goes well with a jetpack, then it'll look like a tank to power it, which could be quite fun, a fuel tank of some kind. So, page number 5. This one's going to get some action, I suspect. The newly dug grave scrap box is an interesting idea. I don't know what to think about that. It's... Okay, I don't have any objections, but I don't really have a strong feeling on that one. The reloading Tinker's workbench, however, I do have a strong feeling about, and I'm very, very happy about that one. More skins for the Tinker's bench are great. We currently have 2/2.5 maybe. There's the base one, there's the taxidermy one, and then there's the Mr. Fuzzy one. So having this will work well as scrappy builds a bit more. I think that'll really go in quite well, and it'll disappear in the sense it'll look like it's part of a wider build, rather than sticking out, I like that. I think that's cool. The Pimp Boy 2 billion paint. Oh dear. This is obviously deliberately very distasteful. Ooh, I mean, to each their own. I can't see myself using it, but it is quite funny. I do. In terms of that, let's gold plate everything attitude, I can see what they're, again, tweaking their nose at, but it's quite funny, but not for me, thank you. The rebar club's quite fun. I like that if you're into two-handed melee. On the other hand, one-handed melee at the moment is more effective, really, or tools. So I don't know that I'd actually use it, but it's a good fun addition anyway. And the white mask is quite cool as well. I do kind of like that. You could put together a fun outfit based on that, potentially. With that as the centre point. Speaking of outfits, though, we've got the checkered suit over here, and I will be astonished if we don't see half of the player base running around in that within a couple of weeks. As soon as they get that, there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, I could dress like Benny from New Vegas. I'm going to run around dressed as him. Yeah. Nah, let's not go there. But we're going to be seeing a lot of that. It's quite grubby, though, which is interesting. I seem to remember Benny's suit being cleaner. Although, to be fair, it was New Vegas. They didn't really have that level of detail, did they? Anyway, I reckon we'll be seeing a lot of that. Moving on. The lawnmower looks too darn clean. Way too clean. If you're doing a clean pre-war type camp, fine, you could potentially put that out there. Anything other than that, though, is going to look out of place on, I think. But the same goes for the floor polishing machine, the other one. That's too clean as well, but I occasionally manage to shoehorn that in as something that looks like it's been salvaged, but yeah, this mower looks like it might be a little bit more difficult to do that with. It's a really weird design choice, that one. I mean, I get it. It's the retrofuturism 50s thing, but it still looks weird. Throwing knives as stabbed weaponry is cool, like that one. The glowing skull, I assume that's a wall decoration of some kind. Not quite sure what the function on that is. Maybe some kind of... It's not exactly going to illuminate the space, but it's some kind of light from the look of it. That's alright. The saw table down there is... I get the idea, but I suspect it's going to be a bit impractical because of the size of it. The existing bobbin table doesn't fit in gaps very well because it's a circle. This is probably going to be even worse. There's also a big steel version of it that's way, way larger that also doesn't fit anywhere, so that doesn't get much use either. I suspect this is going to be a cool idea, but impractical in reality. Still, it is what it is. It's also free. Raider Brewing Station. That's cool. It matches up with some of the other Raider bits and pieces we've got coming through, both in this season and in previous ones, so that's definitely nice. Happy to see that. There's like the Raider armor bench, stuff like that we've seen, which is cool. The Raider Sarsaparilla vending machine. We've got the not Raider version of the Sarsaparilla vending machine. Is it actually a vending machine? Is it a player vending thing, or is it supposed to vend something else? I don't know. I've never actually checked it out since I got it. I should do that. Either way, I like it. I'm not such a big fan of the Raider one. I think I'd use the base one rather than this. Although I would use this in a Raidery camp, which I'll have to do at the end of the season, let's be honest. Once I've got all the cool bits and pieces, because we're going to be better equipped by the end of this than we've ever been to do a Raider build. And there's a lot to be said for that. Something that's been difficult to do well for a long time. Although there are still a few bits and pieces that are not available to us that seem rather obvious, like spiked poles and things like that. But it'll be interesting to see what sort of creeps its way in over the Atomic Shop during the course of this season, between now and March. So, moving on. There's some fun stuff in here I want to try out. The Raider Fermenter goes with the brewing station, that makes sense. The Ghoul Vault Boy lamp, that's kind of fun. The rest of it's not terribly exciting in terms of consumables, but the two things that are, the Raiderized truck, that appeals to me as a camp builder. Fallout first one, so yeah. The base of it, that kind of earthen foundation there, I'm wondering how that's going to go. If it'll sink into the ground well enough so that it doesn't just stick up, that could be cool. I'll probably make use of it either way, at least once, but that could be cool. However, it is also quite likely, given the way previous prefabs with that kind of foundation have gone, that it will stick up in a horrific way and not clip into the ground properly, even when you use free placement. And if that's the case, I'll be extremely frustrated with it. And it might be enough to put me off using it altogether. We'll see. If they get it right, cool. If they don't, as always, looking at that, I don't think you could build this in Burning Springs, because the ground in Burning Springs is mostly sort of reddy orange, and that is brown. So this would have to be something like the forest, otherwise it's just going to look like you've just randomly decided to shovel earth into some kind of truck and drag it to another part of the map, which happens in a few spots. So yeah, we'll see on that one. But I like the concept, and I wonder if we can get into the trailer on the back as well as being on top of it. It could be an interesting one. I'll cross my fingers that that's going to work out well. A lot of you, I'm sure, will be very interested in Dom Pedro over here, the Ghoul's Gun, which is... I initially thought this was going to be available from the bounty hunting system that's being brought in with Burning Springs. Nope, it's a season reward, which is cool. It's basically a pistol that is really high-powered, and quite slow firing for that, but it's really high-powered. They've adjusted some of that damage output across the course of the PTS, because it was silly at the start, and hopefully the changes you can make to it in terms of like barrel lengths and so on will actually change the visuals of it. I've got a feeling they might not though, because they didn't on the PTS. But they've tweaked a few bits and pieces. The attachments are coming further in the season, by the way. Yeah, it's cool to have the Ghoul's weapon. It's a sensible tie-in to Season 2 of the show, which launches on the 17th of December, if you're wondering. There's a reminder for you. I've got to admit, I don't like the look of it. It's a fine weapon and all, but what really gets me is that front end. The way that front wooden grip kind of curves up towards the muzzle looks ugly as hell to me. Yeah, and I don't seem to recall in the show that it actually did that. It seems to be a weird feature that they've done for the game version. Maybe I'm misremembering there. I could be. But yeah, it looks weirdly stumpy. That curve on the front end is seriously ugly. Yeah. I don't like that very much. I don't like that very much at all. On the other hand, it does pack a punch if you want to go down that road. So, Raider wall-mounted walkways. These are... we already have wooden versions of these that will also work in a Raider camp, but having some metal versions is quite fun too. That middle one with the arrow sign on it looks a little thick. Can't really tell. It might just be the bottom edge there. But we'll have to see it in game. But still, having options there is useful. These can actually be clipped into the ground a bit, I think, so they might possibly solve an issue I'm having with my in-progress build at the moment. Maybe I'll try that with the wooden ones. I mean, that's going to suck, though, with wooden ones on the build I'm doing. Maybe not. Anyway, a build in progress, probably going to arrive next week, by the way, seeing as all of this has come out in the meantime. But, yeah, happy to have that. Different textures and stuff are always welcome, and it could certainly work in a Raider build and might well work for some other stuff as well, scrappy builds. There's a lot of scrap metal, kind of colorized scrap metal stuff in this as well later on in this season, and I think it's cool, but I think if you overdo it, it could be a bit much, so something to bear in mind. New kitty cat for your camp, that's always fine. The scratching post I don't like. I mean, it's an object to just dump on like a table or something. It's an absurd decoration piece at school, but the fact it's a scratching post, it's got barbed wire on it. Not only would it be cruel to suggest to your cat to use that sort of thing, he says as a proud cat owner sitting down there right now, no cat is stupid enough to use an arm with a bit of string on it and a load of barbed wire as a scratching post. They're just not going to bloody do it. It looks like it was designed by somebody who wasn't thinking very clearly and doesn't own a cat. I'm nitpicking a little bit. Like, it's a decoration piece. Stick it in your camp when you haven't got a cat there. That makes more sense to my mind. Anyway. Rant. Moving on. More Dino Peak stuff and also some Raider stuff. So we've got Dino Bins. These have got junk in them, so they're partially filled. Those kind of appeal to me in some way. I'm curious about how big they are. I don't know. But they could go into builds just for sort of clutter, if nothing else. I'm also wondering if they function as stash boxes, because some of the bins in the game do, some of them don't. I'd hope it does, but either way, they look like they might be fun. Dino Peak's entrance sign, you could build something around that. That could be fun. Yeah, definitely a bit tongue-in-cheek. It's a bit excessive, but yeah, I could see you making use of that. The Mystery Chem Machine, again, I can't see myself using it a lot, although maybe it'd go in a Raider build, nonetheless. If you want random chems, you're probably better off crafting your own in terms of efficiency, but still. It's a thing. Vault Girl Ghoul Lamp is quite fun. Goes with the Vault Boy one we saw earlier. The Dino Peaks photo board cutout, again, could go into a wall, really. Is more use than anything else. But as a random decoration item, it doesn't feel very wasteland, but that's fine. Why would it? Truthfully, weird stuff like that being dragged back and repurposed is really quite wasteland, even if it doesn't feel it. Yeah, I might squeeze it into a junk wall somewhere. We'll see. The Don Pedro grips are down there, and we have the Dino Peak Bogey t-shirt. Yeah. If you're into that, that's great. I've got to say, in terms of things that are my favourite colour and things that are not my favourite colour, yellow is very much on the not side of things. It always has been for me. Some shades work better than others. I've actually seen a couple of guitars recently in a really nice shade of yellow. That ain't it, though. That definitely is not it. To each their own, though. Moving on, a crashed cargo bot seems like a fun idea, but that big mound of earth that comes with it, that could be problematic. I think you'd be better off if it just clipped partially through the ground and didn't have the earth. Is it a stash box or is it just a piece of decoration? I don't know. Could go either way. Still, fun idea. We'll see how it actually looks in reality. Is that a wall-mounted stash box? The stay away stash box at the top there? Because it looks like it's wall-mounted. I think it probably is. Either way, cool. I like the look of the object. It looks interesting and different. Yeah, that's fun. Definitely Raider-y themed, but could also work in some other stuff as well. A bit of a scrappy vibe if you stick it in the right place. But yeah, I think I'm okay with that. The Raider Tavern. This one is a bit more of a mixed feeling for me. I mean, it's a season inclusion. You're not paying anything for it, so fine. But I've got the original Wildwood Tavern, and I used it once, and I've never used it again, and I don't really foresee myself doing so. I suspect this is going to be much the same. I will probably incorporate it into a Raider build, maybe, possibly, when I do that. But beyond that, I don't see myself using it a second time. I seem to remember there were issues around the first one. Some of it was due to size and how far the power radius worked, so I don't know if that'll be an issue here. Probably not. They'll probably solve that issue this time around. Yeah, it's a weird vibe, this thing, and it's getting towards that size where properly decorating it doesn't leave a lot of camp budget left, really. So yeah, I'm not sure about the vibe on that one. I'll see how I feel. I might have give it a go, but I don't see myself using it more than once. There seems to be a problem with a lot of the prefabs that are coming through these days. Maybe once, but not more than that. And if I see that, then a lot of the time I just don't bother, because a lot of them have not been that interesting lately. I need to up the game a little bit on that, I think. The Pike set might be fun for both for Raider builds and also if you're trying to do any kind of camp build, though, that you don't want visitors in. You know, if you're doing like some kind of crazy hunter's cabin in the woods type vibe or a horror-themed camp, they might work for that quite well. I'm curious as to what on earth that Dino Volcano is. A Dino Golf Volcano. Is it a light? Is it an interactive thing? Is it a just random decoration object? I don't know. Guess we'll find out, won't we? The Raider chemistry bench definitely makes sense. Goes with everything else Raidery we've been having added recently. Looks quite fun. Changes up the vibe. You could squeeze it into a number of different places as well. It would work as part of a junk wall if you wanted to have your chemistry bench outside as well. So that's quite cool. And there is the receiver mods for Dom Pedro there as well. The season art looks quite cool. I actually quite like that. That really wide panoramic wall art of Burning Springs will work well with the wide open vibe of the zone, so that's quite a cool piece of art, I think. The Red Hog sign, fine. It's a bit too... I like the ones that are a bit more interesting. I think that's the kind of thing that you'd put in a camp and you just kind of wouldn't notice it, because it's a bit monocoloured and kind of grey and dirty like that. It doesn't stand out, so I prefer more interesting signs, given the choice, but that does also kind of match the colour scheme of the Rad Hog, so I kind of get it from that perspective, but yeah, that's fine. Newly Dove Grave Aid Box, so there was an ammo box before that I think I've managed to miss somewhere, so there's a full set of Newly Dug Grave Fallout First storage options there. The Scrap Metal Porch Kit, that's cool, I'm glad that's coming through. There is also the build set we'll see in a second. What I don't like is the trend that Bethesda have been leaning towards lately, which is separating porches from the rest of the build kit. They are separate. It's not quite as bad when they do it in seasons. When they do it in the Atomic Shop, it's a really low-down move that I don't like at all. I'm not okay with it. And they've done that a couple of times. Like, oh, you've got the bundle, great. Oh, you want the porches to go with that? Pay extra. Now, when they forgot to include them way back, I can kind of say, oh, well, they added them later because people wanted it. I can kind of hand-wave away that okay. But when they're doing it deliberately, which they have been doing lately, I'm not okay with that. I think it's not a very cool move, to say the least. Those sets that have come through like that, I've not bought for that reason. And that's saying as somebody who gets a decent number of items direct from Bethesda. So if you're having to dip in your own pocket, I'd really understand why you wouldn't want to do that. I don't think that's a cool decision. Anyway, enough ranting about that. Let's move on. Vault-Tec sofa set, the modular one. It's weird in this context of the season, because bright blue sofa set really does not go with anything else in this season at all. And neither does the Edison Power Armor paint, really. Neither of these make any sense in this season. Happy to have both. Both are cool, but why here? I actually do like that Edison Power Armor paint. It looks like it's one of the more interesting ones that I've seen in a while, potentially. A lot of the ones that come through really haven't been my thing lately, and that I quite like. I'd like to look into that. I'll be keeping an eye out for it. So, a final page of particularly interesting rewards. Cobby Collectron. The last season had one that looked like the brewing bot from Fallout 4 a bit, and that was kind of fun. Don't seem as I've using it really, but still. Especially as I got the Liberator one from the Atomic Shop, which I was quite happy to have. That I've wanted for ages, so it was quite cool for that one. But the Cobby one's kind of fun. If you're into that thing, it's kind of tongue-in-cheek. I get it. It's not really my thing, but it's kind of fun. It does look like it shouldn't fit in the pod, though. That's just a depth thing, I think. But still, it's kind of funny. Stabbed Grognak Axe is quite fun. Like that. Definitely like that. Empty dino bins. Less exciting, but cool. The floating crate platform's a weird one. I think it would be fun to have the Sarsaparilla crates knocking around. Unfortunately, they'll only go in water, which makes them less appealing. If there was loose versions of the Sarsaparilla crates you could just chuck around your camp for decor, I'd be happy to see that too. Also, if you were to try and build a platform by roping together a bunch of crates, I guarantee you they would probably sink underneath you if you try to stand on them. And they would definitely just fall apart within seconds. It would not end well for you. You'd be swimming quite prompt. Raider fish trap's a weird one. Rusty, broken down, more improvised vibe. Yes, Raider. I don't see Raiders making fish traps, really. It just doesn't seem like their thing. Stealing somebody else's stuff when they're fishing, you know. Stealing somebody else's catch is more the Raider vibe, isn't it? Rusty Nails dog collar. Don't put a rusty nail collar on your dog. You're just going to hurt your dog. But still, in keeping with the rest of the season. Dom Pedro. What? Why is there another one just labelled Dom Pedro? I'm guessing this is supposed to be the barrel mods as opposed to anything else, because we've had the grip, we've had the receiver. I don't think there are sight mods to go with this, although it could be. But I assume this is just mods that are not really coming through very well in the picture, as opposed to being an additional weapon. Still, again, we'll find out. And last but not least there, the scrap metal kit, which, yeah, I'm looking forward to having that. I think it'll be fun, but I think if you're using a lot of this in one camp, it'll be too much. I think small structures, like a small structure that looks like it's been thrown together, will work in a larger camp. But if you build a whole camp out of this, it's not going to look right, in my view. It needs to be part of a more mixed texture setup, I think, for me. Otherwise, it'll be just too much. But I'm looking forward to getting that. Again, still not best pleased that they've separated out the porches, but I'll let them off for it on the scoreboard. I need to stop doing it in the Atomic Shop, though. So, the last page, as usual, is a bunch of repeatable claim rewards once you get past the rank 150 mark. There's a whole bunch of the usual consumables and currency and so on and so forth there, which is what we would expect. I never get that far, not that bothered. I've actually got reasonably far on Season 22. I'm in like the rank 130-ish without really breaking too much of a sweat to do that, but just because there's actually more bits and pieces I wanted to pick up this time around. For Season 23, I'll be grabbing a lot of that stuff, I think. Although I'm not massively excited about this one. If you really want to go for a Raider-themed camp, and I know a lot of people do, that is cool. We're definitely getting a lot of stuff that needs to be added. There's new variations of workbenches as well, which I'm always welcome to see, and a couple of other bits and pieces that are quite nice. But I don't, on the whole, think it's the most exciting season ever. The last few haven't been, really. That said, yeah, it does have a specific vibe and lean into a specific thing, and that thing is something we've been needing to come through for, well, what are we on now, 7 years? So it's not unwelcome in that regard either. It just doesn't excite me personally. But I think it's, generally speaking, try to set my own personal tastes aside for a minute, not a bad season on the whole. I can tell you that the new zone, Burning Springs, the new region, and the stuff that's going on with it is good fun, and I'm looking forward to exploring it. It's the most single-player Fallout game feeling part of 76 that there's ever been, I think. Still doesn't feel like a single-player, but it's more that direction than it's ever been. And it's just the start of an ongoing quest line and series that will feature this particular zone. There is more to come in subsequent updates next year, so we don't know when. We don't know anything about next year's updates, actually, but there's been less forthcoming than usual on that. Even less forthcoming, I should say, really. So hopefully we'll start hearing stuff about that soon. But yeah, keep it here if you want to hear about that, because as soon as I get news, just as soon as I can anyway. Yeah, mixed feelings on this one. Not the worst season ever. It doesn't excite me, but that's a taste thing, I think. Yeah, there we go. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this was interesting to you and informative. You got a decent look at what's coming up in the next season. 2nd of December as a reminder for the kickoff on this one. It's also when the changeover happens season-wise. It's when the changeover happens to introduce Burning Springs, the big update and everything else. And of course, Season 2 of the TV show comes out on Amazon Prime on the 17th of December. So a little Christmassy watching for you. Deserts and ghouls and monsters and things. Yeah, great. Very Christmassy. Still, should be fun. Looking forward to it. Can't wait. Anyway, thank you all for watching. You know what the buttons are. Like, subs, notification bell, always appreciated. Social media links in the description if you want to keep up to date with what I'm doing. And if you want to support the channel directly, then please do consider channel memberships down below as well. And join us for live streams too. We are playing The Last Caretaker at the moment, which has been a fun, very different direction really, given it's an ocean world kind of survival sci-fi game. That's been quite cool to check out. And we're also doing another Fallout 4 run at the moment, which has been cool. And Burning Springs will bring us back with a little bit more 76 too. So lots of stuff to watch there, weekday evenings if you're interested. For now, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.